The Durian Heat, bringing big ideas, critical opinions in Southeast Asia. Hey, good morning. This is Arlene.
Hi, this is Gowri.
And of course, you are with us at our second segment of the day, which is called the Durian Heat, where we questions people's consciousness.
Especially today.
Especially today, we are going to speak with Rahman Indra. He's a communication manager for the ASEAN Literary Festival 2015, which is happening right now. So, hi, how are you?
Hi Arlene, how are you? I'm fine.
Oh, I'm great. So this year, it is the ASEAN Literary Festival, and your theme is called Questions of Conscience. Why you call it that way?
Yeah, this year is the second year of our ASEAN Literary Festival, and if last year we took the theme Anthems for the Common People, this year we come out with the idea Questions of Conscience. Why of that? Because we think in the digital era, and where everyone has a social media, and then the world becomes linked, and we want to know that how the digital era has affected Indonesian and maybe other writers in the region, ASEAN and non-ASEAN countries, affect their writing. Do they still write about humanity and justice issue or not? And do such topics being raised by pop culture? This is why we took the theme. So we want to discuss about it together in this week. So the festival will be happening until 22 March.
Mm-hmm. So it's from March 15, which was 2
Yeah,
days ago, to March
yeah,
22nd, 2015
Yeah.
in Jakarta. So is this the first time you actually organize such literary festival on a scale of ASEAN region, or have you been organizing this before?
I think, in my opinion, this is the first ASEAN Literary Festival that gathering together ASEAN countries. I mean, in the countries that being grouped in Association of Southeast Asian Nations. And the idea coming is because we think not many people know each other, like Indonesian people not knowing who is the writer from Malaysia, from Singapore and Philippines, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in other countries that doesn't know about Indonesian writers too, and then what issue coming up, and then what's happening today, and do they affect each other or not? So that's why we hold the discussion and then the festival.
I see. But last year, you actually have an ASEAN Literary Festival that is that has a theme of democracy and human rights, and it's called Anthems for the Common People. So how different from last year towards this year's theme?
Well, because the theme is coming from a quote of the Tuku, one of our gifted author, and then we talk about we want to make the voice of the common people, and they want to gather together, and then we want them to be heard, and then we want to see how's the writer in their literary works talking about that, speaking the truth to the power and everything. So actually the theme is not we leave it behind, even though that we come up with the question of conscience, we still talk about that in our discussion this year. Yeah.
So what is exactly ASEAN Literary Festival? Because it's quite broad range. You have so many activities in it. But what exactly you want out of this?
Okay, we want to we know that in nation in Southeast Asia, group in the Association Southeast Asian Nation for ASEAN, we share many similarities in culture and literature rights.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have proximity within one sub-region. We share history of being colonized, and then level of democratization, and then economic development, and then we share ancestor, ethnicity, and language. I think it's very interesting, and then we want to meet in one literary event to discuss the way to have a better future. And that's why ASEAN Literature Festival becomes the first event together of ASEAN countries.
One interesting point that you highlight that we have a sharing history of being colonized. Can you elaborate more on this? Like, would this be part of the major focus of majority of the writers, poets, and performers there?
Yeah, the festival is held by Mora Foundation, and then with full support from Hivers and Indonesian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And the festival is being organized as a platform for writers, artists, and the general public in the region. And so we get to know one another in greater depth, right? So if you want to see Indonesia and maybe another country in ASEAN has some the same history. I mean, like, then we see, for example, I take example. And Indonesia in Suharto era, we have some poets that speak the truth to the power, like Wijitukul. And then we also know in Philippines, same as well. And then we have Pete Lakaba to talk in his literary works, do the same. And then Myanmar as well. For democratic movement, we have some writers, and then she's being in prison because of her writing or something like that. So actually, we have some in common actually, and then and it's different from other countries like American and European. So this is so interesting to discuss together.
Any speakers or any writers from Malaysia that you have invited?
Yeah, actually we have invited, but unfortunately today we have not have the names. But last year we have some names together.
Can you share with us some of the activities and program that will be performed or will be shared during the event?
I would like to tell you that we have more than 21 discussions, literary discussion, and then 3 special workshops. And then for a workshop, we have like workshop for like writing for freedom. And then for this, we have 2 speakers, Martin Aleda from Indonesia, and then Jamil Madan Flores from Philippines. And then we have workshop dramatic reading with Jose Rizal Manua from Indonesia, and then Lo Kotwe from Brunei. And then we have one workshop others like starting your own unique library and bookstore with Shintaro Ushinuma from Japan. And then, and I said before, we have more than 20 discussions, and it's very large and range. Like, for example, we have Voice of Nature in Literary Works with the speakers from Indonesia and China. Ahmad Tohari, Esa Tegar, and Su Weifeng. And then we have Literary Works and Contemporary ASEAN Society. And for the speakers, we have Tommy Tommy from Indonesia, Virgilio S. Almario from Philippines, Shin Yong-dik from South Korea, and then Dr. Tin Mong-Kwe from Myanmar. And then still about ASEAN, we still have locality in ASEAN literature. And this will focus on ASEAN literature with the speakers Manake Budiman from Indonesia, and then Josephine Chia from Singapore, Michelle Ongfen from Australia, and Yu Kang Tan from Myanmar. And for digital era, we have 2 discussions, like literatures in digital era and digital generation tells their story.
I see.
And with the speakers like from Philippines, John Areno Theodore, Sao Situmurang from Indonesia, and Shintaro Ushinuma from Japan. We have a lot of speakers, and then the formal is one discussion. We have mixed speakers and writers, like from Indonesia and with another countries together. And then it will gonna be delivered in English speaking. And not to forget, there's discussion about women and literature. And here we have Zubaida Johar from Indonesia, Kyoko Ushida from Japan, Ann Osby from Norway, and Cha Gong-kyung from South Korea. And then for children as well, children's literature, the theme is antithesis consumerism. The speaker is Clara Ng from Indonesia, and then Tang Shujian from China.
I see. So there's
Yeah, and then many.
many more. I can see
Yeah,
that
then we
because
have.
I'm
That's
open.
why we have. We want public to choose wisely because some of the discussion is happening at the same time.
And in fact,
So it's parallel.
they can get access information about the program at the official website, which is
Yeah.
ASEANLiteraryFestival.com.
Festival.com. Yeah.
And what I like about this festival is so huge in terms of the range of topics that you can literally choose whatever topic that you think is suitable to your discussion.
Yeah.
I want to know what's your favorite topic or your favorite theme that you would be joining for discussion.
I want to join in every discussion actually, but for me, I think it is the one interesting is like literary works and contemporary ASEAN society, and then locality in ASEAN literature, and then literatures in digital era. Why? Because I think we want to know about do the writers in their literary works talking about their locality, and then took that to the universal theme, and then we want to know well that how digital era affected them, and then are they still writing about common people, humanity, and justice, or they just forget because too many voices out there.
So we will discuss more about the literary in the digital era, how it affects the thinking and writing skills of young people later on after this break.
The Durian Heat, bringing big ideas, critical opinions in Southeast Asia.
Hey, this is Arlene.
Hi, this is Gowri.
We are back again at our discussion on the Durian Heat, where we have critical discussion with Rahman, Indra on the ASEAN Literary Festival with a theme of questions of conscience. So, going back to the theme, questioning the conscience of society, you focus a lot on the younger generations which are users of social media. So how much different the younger generation today compared to yesteryears in terms of how they think and feel and how they digest information?
We think about that too. In the past, we might have, we might not have social media what we have right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's different from now. And then we see the world become shrink because of it. And then everyone has an access to the internet, and then they share the ideas in 140 characters in Twitter, and then they tell each other, and maybe this affected to the interest for the reading. And we know that in literary works, reading is one of the important things. So if you can elaborate the readers and the writers is becoming separated.
Do you think that even with using social media, there is a way to find a balance where you can still discuss critical issues, but at the same time to keep it short and brief?
Yeah, but we have to see the fact that reading culture needs to be developed. If we are people willing to invest in publishing books and reading materials, so I think it's affected, good and bad. I mean, in good way, we see more people can refill their ideas and then put their mind into the social media, writing through Twitter or Facebook as well. But the bad, if I just start the ideas that coming from is more personal, something like that. Most of them forget to encourage themselves to speak the truth to power, and then touch the humanity or justice. And that's in our hypothesis. So that's why we want to know about that. And besides of this, we also see the growth of self-publishing. I mean, there is no more publisher monopoly, because everyone can publish their own writings. So it makes
So
it
you cut the
easier.
middle person, yeah, in this case.
No, no. And so that's the interesting thing. In Indonesia, it's something like that. We don't know yet in other countries. So we want to see it. Does this affect all the countries the same thing or not? So
I'm curious to know about the reading culture of Indonesian the younger generation, maybe with a focus on young Jakartans. Do you think people nowadays have the younger generation nowadays read more compared to last time, or read less?
I think no, not really. Because the reading culture is getting decreased. I mean, not many people want to read right now because the access of the technology, and then I think the priority now is the gadget, and then television is everywhere. Even the television is in your room, in your private things, and then put the book behind, and then. But the interesting thing is that it's easier. Internet is the biggest library, right? Like not many people access it, but they access for the social media. So that's a pity. But that's why we want to hold. That's why one of the reasons we hold the festival to make them connected again to the literary and the books, and then to get to know the writers and then the themes again.
One of your theme is about book industry in ASEAN countries and indie publishers as an alternative. It's interesting because in Malaysia, you can see, especially in Kuala Lumpur and Penang, you can see pockets of small publishing house or indie publishers trying to make their way in the book industry. But at the same time, the reading culture in the country is still quite small to the extent that it's not able to somehow expand the book industry itself, or even the indie publishers' scope of outreach towards their buyers. Would you agree with that in the context of other countries in Southeast Asia?
Yeah, that's the fact that we have same thing. We do have an indie books publisher as well, and then as I said before, we have a self-publishing, and then it's not easy for them to sell in the book, but they have their own target. I mean, like nowadays we have a community, more and more community, and in fact they have expanding the theme as well. So it's not just maybe from one theme to another. It's gonna be different, and then people. People have more and many choices. So that's the interesting actually, but we still have to encourage people to read and then to get to know them, and they need more publication or something like that. Yeah.
Another one thing that I'm quite curious, because you have this screening of I'm sure it's a documentary if I'm not mistaken. It's called Atheist. And it's being it is a film screening in University Islamic Indonesia. Is it okay to film something that is about a religiousness, which is atheist, in an Islamic university in Jakarta?
Yeah, why not? I mean, nowadays we are open. I mean, nowadays we are open-minded people, I guess, because and we are critics, and then we are intellectual, and then we no longer it's a taboo to talk about religion. I mean, even in the literary works, we found it easily, right? And then movies is one of the shape of the arts as well to talk about that.
Sorry, you can continue.
But at least it's just one of the movie screening from there. So the theme is different. And then we have atheists, and we have another movie from Indonesia, Japan, and Cuba. And every theme is different. And we want to show them that actually this is literary and then arts becoming related to our life.
It's
So
interesting.
individual and then society.
Yeah, it's interesting that universities in Jakarta allowing controversial themes, to be screened in the compound of the university, because I don't think in Malaysia such situation would happen, especially controversial topics that talk about LGBT, talk about atheism and other controversial topics. Or
Is it still hard to be showing in Malaysia?
I don't think it's possible in a way that you would probably get some negative feedback from other quarters of students who might not be easy with that kind of topic to be screened in the university compound. But in the ASEAN Literary Festival, do you get negative feedback from people who might not agree with the kind of messages or information that you're trying to gauge with all the younger generation there?
Yeah. Fortunately, yesterday when we show the movies, most of them are very excited, and then we have not many negative feedback. In fact, this is a story, and maybe in the first time the movie's screening is controversial, but it's a long time ago. But nowadays, as I said before, we are now more often, and Indonesia is having many religions, not only Muslim, I guess. Even if the Muslim is the biggest, and then we still have like tolerance and something like that. So yeah, and I think that's why there is. In fact, yesterday we saw not many negative feedback, and we are open-minded to talk about and discuss about that.
Do you think that the literary festival, because you were saying that with earlier with Facebook and Twitter and all, the younger generation these days are very disconnected from reading, because technology is kind of taking over the whole reading habit. But how would you encourage them to attend the literary festival in the first place if they are not interested in reading?
First. We think about it, and we want to inspire them, and then we invite some writers, some name that they know. So most of the writers are a good one for sure, and they have good books. So this is the first thing that we want to share to them, and then we do social media to encourage and then to connect with them, and then we encourage them to access our website as well. So every ways to connect to the young generation, especially in digital, and we accept many good feedback. For example, we ask them to register for some discussion, and nowadays we have more than 1,600 people register, and every discussion is around 100. So this proving to us that actually many young people out there want to have this kind of festival, but since they not many festival of literary right now, so that's why I think. If we hold more and then more literary festival or books festival, and every event about literary, it's gonna be good, because this is one of the way to encourage them to aware about literary and then becoming more interested to literary works as well.
So we will take one short break, right? When we return, we will talk about ASEAN community and ASEAN identity, and how the ASEAN Literary Festival is trying to somehow inculcate or creating such identity by understanding literary as well as the voices of young Southeast Asian.
The Durian Heat, bringing big ideas, critical opinions in Southeast Asia.
Hi, this is Arlene.
Hi, this is Gowri.
And of course, we are continuing our discussion with Rahman Indra, Communication Manager of the ASEAN Literary Festival 2015 on, of course, the event itself as well as the theme, Questions of Conscience. So, we spoke a lot about the program, about the theme, about why it is significant towards the younger generation in Southeast Asia. Let's move forward towards what is the main focus of Southeast Asia right now. As we all know, this year will be the year where the ASEAN community will be realized. And of course, when we talk about ASEAN community, it's always synonym with the idea of creating a single market, greater access to business, and of course, greater economic development. But at the same time, the discourse has rarely been about Southeast Asian community, rarely about how the younger generation think or feel about society as a whole. So how do you think we can achieve a more meaningful and substantive ASEAN community, especially through such intricate festival like the ASEAN Literary Festival?
Right. You're right. We know that socio-cultural community is one of the three pillars of the ASEAN community that will be officially established at the end of 2015. And then we assume that ASEAN Literary Festival will become the only event that we did together all ASEAN countries in one literary festival in the spirit of that community. So the fact is, the 10 Southeast Asian nations that have been grouped in the Association of Southeast Nations, or we call it ASEAN, are the heirs of a common Southeast Asia cultural legacy that enriched by the influence of the great civilizations from India, China, and then the Middle East. And this common cultural legacy, as well as the ASEAN countries, share geography and then history, and then also the current striving for democracy and then socio-economic development, and also constitution, will help ensure us the success and the impart of great significance to such an event. So that is the ambition of ASEAN Literary Festival. So when you think about this is affected the young generation, yes, we think about it too, and also the intellectual person. So we are connected each other because of the history like colonialization. For example, the Indonesian literature is influenced by the blends of Chinese, India, and then Pakistan. So I quote some of the writers and critics from Indonesia, named Arlene. She said that during the colonized period, writers at the time is very creative with the writing process, and they show their voices, opinions, and point of views through their writing. Although during the face struggle due to the colonial bureaucracy. And then how about nowadays? We are already, some of the countries in Asia is already have their independence. And then that's one point. Another point is that technology becoming growth, and then digital era. And then the writers go creative and then show their voice and opinion in a good way, or we miss about it. That's why the hypothesis we bring to discussion.
So do you think that the ASEAN Literary Festival in a way also contributes to the whole ASEAN community coming together as a single market? And how do you think that the young people can benefit from the ASEAN Literary Festival and then put that to use in terms of contributing to the ASEAN community?
So as we said before, the ASEAN Literary Festival will be becoming a platform for the writers, for the authors, for the critics, for the academic, and then for the public, every region to meet together. So it's gonna be access, and we get to talk, and then we're gonna be each other. I mean, like in general, we get to know each other in greater depth. I mean, before we don't know each other, right? And then this festival becoming one big platform, and then it's very interesting. So the young generation as the audience becoming more aware, and then criticize and talk to the writers, and have some ideas to talk about. And then we hope that there are two things that we hope. First, reading culture is growing and increase, and then people and they more invest to the books and reading materials after this festival. And maybe after this, Indonesia will get to know the writers from other countries, from Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, and then be for the young Indonesian readers. And that's why for those that we invited, they will know. I mean, they get to know each other, and then they know what they gonna write after this. Like, oh, in Indonesia, there's social problems like this, and it's same in our country. So in actually the same problem, and then maybe different solution, and then or maybe another country not find yet the solution. So we're gonna share it. This is what we're gonna do, and then we're gonna tell that in our stories like that.
Is there any discourse towards trying to get the voices of the common people as a basis to form that, or at least to create that idea of ASEAN identity? Because many conversation has been throwing around on what exactly is ASEAN identity. Is it just about a market, a 600 million market access for companies, or is it something more than that?
I think it's something more than that. Southeast Asian, as I say, the Southeast Asian nation has their own characters. It's very, very different with others, and it's not just the market. We are also have the people. We have also the intellectual that's supposed to take their role. They speak the truth through the literary works, and then the critics, they are being independent and have a critical mind. And I think the ASEAN identity will shape it. I mean, when starting from the literary works, I guess, because literary can talk and touch your soul and heart, and then we talk about the social and the humanity as well. So if we compare and then we read it, the stories in different countries, and we're gonna know that we have our own identity, and we are not just a single market, as you said.
In your own point of view, what exactly is ASEAN identity, if you can break it down, or if it's even possible to create such identity?
In my opinion, we have our own culture and traditions. I mean, the fact is, we still have problem with we are under colonized before, and then we are. It's related to our mind, but that's the challenge. I mean, if we can move forward and then we change that mind, as Edward said, if our countries, I mean, if the intellectuals, if the writers can take their role, speaking the truth, and being critical toward the world or the government, it's gonna be good. I mean, if we can do that, but nowadays we still, that's the challenge thing. So right now we still have not yet, but I think we cannot make it like with critics toward what we have now.
So talking about the ASEAN Literary Festival, apparently you have an award that you conferred to an ASEAN writer as a Lifetime Achievement Prize. Is this the first time you are doing this? Do you have a nomination of who are the ASEAN writers that will be standing a chance to win the literary award?
We have 4 person to be our steering board. Their name is I'm talking about this before we come into the literary award. And we have the name is Tommy F. Awi, Sarah Stewi, Damhuri Muhammad, and then Jamil Maidan Forest. The steering board, and also with the director and the board of the committee, discuss about who gonna be the writers that will get the literary award. And we have some categories like it open for the ASEAN writers. It's not only from Indonesia. Last year we gave it to Wiji Tukul because consideration is he is one of the gift authors that speak his voice, and in his literary works he speaks the voice of art for the common people. He talk about justice. He talk about the humanity in very very good way, and his work is very excellent. But we until now we don't know yet where is he, and something happened to him, and so he is one of our awardee to achieve the literary award. But this year we not decide to have it because we not find yet who is gonna be, and perhaps it's gonna be given once after, maybe next year event.
Mm-hmm. So, all in all, this is probably my last question to you, because being a young Southeast Asian in today's globalized world, there's a lot of challenge in it, especially in seeking our own identity as Southeast Asian. But I think more importantly, trying to rediscover back our history, our culture, our rich literature in the past. Do you think this will be the avenue for young people to be able to rediscover back, the kind of identity that they have always been seeking for, but maybe through a more modern channel, which is the social media?
Yeah, the first point that we want to improve the reading culture, right? So
Yeah.
this event is not just only an event, but we build a tradition. So tradition to make the young generation to be aware about the reading interest, and then next time they want to invest in the books and reading materials. So some discussion will show to them that how emphasize Indonesian story era. Indonesian era before, and maybe another speakers from another countries will tell what happened to them in the past as well, and then how they impacted to the future. So that's why by reading they can improve their knowledge and how they think, and then their thoughts and their brave choices can manage their own countries. So that's what we want to encourage first.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
So how can people get in touch with you, and as well as the organizer of the ASEAN Literary Festival? Anyway, we are towards the end of our session here. Apparently, there's some connection problem with Rahman Indra. Thanks for speaking with us, and we hope all the best with the ASEAN Literary Festival. You can always get access, more information about the festival, which is happening right now until the 22nd of March. You can check more about their event at ASEANLiteraryFestival.com. That's all from me, Arlene.
And this is Gowri. See you again tomorrow.